From the start, I rejected that counsel of despair and set about negotiating a deal that worked for the UK and the EU, one that delivered on the result of the referendum and set us on course for a prosperous future, while maintaining a close relationship with our friends and neighbours. Thanks to the hard work of both sets of negotiators, that is what we have today agreed. I want to take a few moments to speak directly to the British people and explain what this deal means. First, control of our borders. Not an emergency brake on free movement or a promise of greater transition controls in the future, but an end to the free movement of people in full once and for all. That is what this deal delivers. It will allow us to put in place an immigration system based not on where people come from, but on the skills and talents they have to offer. That is in our national interest. Second, control of our money. Not a reduction in our membership fee, not a bigger budget rebate, but an end to vast annual payments being sent to the EU. That is what this deal delivers. Instead, we will be able to spend taxpayers' money on our priorities, like the £394 million per week of extra investment we are putting into our NHS. That is in our national interest. Third, control over our laws. Not just the return of some areas of control from Brussels, but an end to the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice in the UK, with our laws being made in our country by democratically elected politicians, interpreted and enforced by British courts. That is what this deal delivers, and that is in our national interest. In agriculture, it does not just deliver a better deal under the Common Agricultural Policy, it takes us out of the CAP completely, meaning we can design new systems of support for farmers that work for the UK. And in fishing, it does not just deliver a bigger annual quota within the Common Fisheries Policy, it sets us free of the CFP for good and forever. The UK will be an independent coastal state once again, in full sovereign control of our waters, able to decide for ourselves who we allow to fish in them, with that access not tied to any other aspect of our economic partnership. That is in our national interest too. On borders, laws and money, this deal delivers for the British people. But I have been just as determined that, as well as taking back control, this should be a deal that protects the things we value in our relationship with our European friends and sets us on course for a future of opportunity and prosperity. And this deal does that too. So if your family's livelihood depends on a skilled job in our manufacturing sector, you need a deal that keeps goods flowing easily across borders and keeps supply chains intact. This deal does that. We will be outside the single market and the customs union, but have an economic partnership with the EU closer than any other country enjoys. Good for business and in our national interest. If you're one of the over 3 million EU citizens who has come and built your life in the UK, come to be our colleagues, our neighbours and our friends, you need a deal that guarantees your rights. If you're one of the almost 1 million UK nationals living elsewhere in the EU, you need the same. This deal delivers for you all. And because each one of us is made safer by the close security cooperation between the UK and the EU, we all need a deal that keeps that close partnership intact, and this deal does that too. As Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, I have felt very keenly my responsibility to deliver a deal that works for the whole UK and for all of its parts. So what we have agreed protects the constitutional integrity of the United Kingdom. We rejected proposals which would have compromised that integrity and insisted on keeping all parts of our UK in a single customs territory. This deal delivers that. It also honours the solemn commitment we made to the people of Northern Ireland that there should be no hard border between Northern Ireland and Ireland. This deal will safeguard the hard-won progress of the last 20 years and allow the people of that part of our United Kingdom to carry on living their lives as they do today. This is a deal that works for the whole UK family, including our overseas territories and the Crown dependencies. On Gibraltar, we have worked constructively with Spain throughout this process, and I want to thank Fabian Picardo for the statesman-like role he has played. We have ensured that Gibraltar is covered by the withdrawal agreement and by the implementation period. Let no one be in any doubt. For the future partnership, the UK will be negotiating for the whole UK family, including Gibraltar. I am proud that Gibraltar is British and its constitutional status will not change. The deal we have agreed today unlocks a bright future for the UK. Outside the EU, we will be able to strike new trade deals around the world and open up new markets in the world's fastest growing economies. We will be able to focus our energies on the many other important issues that matter to the British people at home, creating more good jobs and spreading prosperity more widely, taking care of our public services like the NHS and schools, building more homes, and tackling the social injustices that prevent too many people fulfilling their potential. In any negotiation, you do not get everything you want. You need to identify what your vital interests are and stick to them, but be prepared to compromise in other areas in order to achieve a result. I think the British people understand that. When they look at this deal, they will see it as a good one for our country and that it is in the national interest for everyone to get behind it. It honours the referendum, protects what we value, and sets us on course for a bright future. Today marks the culmination of our exit negotiations with the EU, but it also marks the start of a crucial national debate in our country over the next few weeks. Before Christmas, MPs will vote on this deal. It will be one of the most significant votes that Parliament has held for many years. On it will depend whether we move forward together into a brighter future or open the door to yet more division and uncertainty. The British people don't want to spend any more time arguing about Brexit. They want a good deal done that fulfills the vote and allows us to come together again as a country. So I will take this deal back to the House of Commons, confident we have achieved the best deal available and full of optimism about the future of our country. In Parliament and beyond it, I will make the case for this deal with all my heart, and I look forward to that campaign. Thank you. Now, questions? Laura?
Very much, Prime Minister. BBC News. Throughout this very long process, you have often been reluctant to tell us what's really going on because you said it's a negotiation and understandably you've kept your cards close to your chest. But now the process is over. Can I ask you to be very straight with the public and tell us who, if anyone, you think is pleased about this deal?
Well, I've just set out in my statement that I think this is a good deal for the whole of the United Kingdom. I believe it delivers on the vote that the British people took. It delivers the end of free movement, end of the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice, end of sending those vast annual sums to the EU every year, and also delivers on those other issues like coming out of the CAP and CFP. And it sets us on course for our future. Yes, there's a next stage of negotiations, obviously, in terms of that future relationship and the legal text of that. But I think what we see in this deal today is a deal that delivers for people, delivers on the vote, delivers in a way that protects jobs and livelihoods and protects our security and our United Kingdom. And as I've said before, I believe our best days lie ahead of us. I have to ask George for a question.
Thank you for persevering, Prime Minister. George Parker for the FT.
George,
well, I thought I'd sit in the front row so you could see me. You said today this is the best deal for Britain. We've heard from other European leaders that this is the only deal that's on the table. There's no alternative to it. If you can't get this deal through the House of Commons, and you've said before this is not about you, would you feel duty-bound to resign?
Well, you're right that I've said before it's not about me, and I will say it again, it's not about me. Look, my focus over the next few weeks is on, as I've just said, on making the case for this deal. As you've heard, I mean, President Juncker said this was the only deal possible. This has been echoed by other European leaders. And I think that is, when people come to vote in the House of Commons, they will need to ask themselves about two aspects of this particularly. The first is delivering Brexit. I think we have a duty as a House of Commons, as a Parliament, to deliver Brexit. And the second question is about what it means for our constituents. And as I've said, the deal that we have delivered, I believe, delivers not just on what people wanted when they voted for Brexit, but also does it in a way that protects jobs, protects our security and protects the United Kingdom. Faisal.
Faisal Islam, Sky News. Prime Minister, do you think it's helpful that Jean-Claude Juncker tells MPs that it's this deal or no deal? And I must just reiterate that question again. If it gets voted down in the Commons, will you stand down?
I am focusing on ensuring that I make the case for this deal to members of Parliament. And I think the point that Jean-Claude Juncker was making, and that's been reiterated by others, was that if people think somehow there's another negotiation to be done, that's not the case. This is the deal. It's the result of what has been tough and difficult negotiations over a significant period of time. And as has been said, this is the deal that is on the table. This is the best possible deal. It's the only possible deal. James.
Prime Minister, you are appealing today to the British people over the heads of Westminster, but only MPs have a vote. Why don't you take your strategy to its logical conclusion, give the people a vote on your deal, and if they do back you, you're home and dry?
You probably won't be surprised at the answer I'm going to give to that question, James. Look, Parliament decided that the choice as to whether we should leave the European Union or remain in it was for the British people. We overwhelmingly voted in Parliament to give the British people that vote. They made their choice, they have delivered their vote, and I believe it is a matter of trust in politicians that we now deliver on the result of that vote. Tom.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Tom Newton-Dunn from The Sun. Can you rule out now attaching any conditions to the deal at the meaningful vote, especially attaching a second referendum to your offer to Parliament, because that's what some Tory MPs are asking for this morning? And secondly, can you also rule out forming a government of national unity if the deal fails?
Well, first of all, on the second referendum, I'm clear, as I've just said in answer to James, that I believe there should not be that second referendum. We gave the choice to the British people. They voted to leave the European Union. I think we should now deliver on that. And as I've said before in the House of Commons, I think if you ask members of the public whether they want what they would expect Parliament to vote on when they're voting on the deal, they would expect Parliament to vote on the deal as it is presented. And I'm focusing on making the case, on taking the arguments in favour of this deal to Parliament, but also in making the case to the British people. And I think from most people in the United Kingdom, they want a deal done and they want us to get on with focusing more clearly on the issues that matter to them day to day.